Happy Wednesday, guys. Today we're going to get into the values of HOAs.
You better get fired up.
All right, it's that time every single Wednesday at 12:30. I bring you Florida's Treasure Coast Market Update, where we go over really anything that kind of intrigues you, intrigues me about the Treasure Coast market. So today what I want to do is answer a question that popped up a day ago yesterday when I was talking to one of my clients. And he said, I'd really like to buy outside of an HOA because obviously you don't have all those restrictions. People really like that. And you're not paying $200, $300, $400, $500 a month for that HOA fee. So that extra money can go to paying for a higher priced house. So obviously homes not in an HOA are going to be valued at higher prices than that same exact home in an HOA. And I said, I beg to differ. I think it would be the opposite. So I almost did the research and I thought, why not wait until today to get it done in front of everybody, right? So I'm gonna do the research. Now, I've thought about how to do this in a way where I'm also going to keep you entertained and I'm not going to lose your attention span. So I'm going to do it in probably a B+ way. There are better ways to do this, but I want you to see just a really simple look at what are homes and HOAs selling for, let's say over the last 90 days, price per square foot, and what are homes outside of HOAs selling for price per square foot, right? That's what I'm going to look at. Again, it's not the best way to do it, but it's a B+ way to do it. It's a very good indicator, right? We've got enough sales. It's a big enough city. Shouldn't have a problem. So I am going to share my screen. You guys should be able to see right now the MLS. The MLS right here is the tool that us as realtors are able to use to get homes listed in. As buyers agents, you're able to go in and do all the research for people. So it's a really phenomenal tool. It is kind of the base of everything, right? This is where everything starts. When you go to Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, Redfin, Coldwell Banker, Remax, Keller Williams, it doesn't matter. All of that data comes from here, the MLS. So this is the real deal, baby. So we're going to go in, we're going to look up Port St. Lucie. And I'm going to look up closed, and we're going to go back roughly 30 days. It's so all of November, October, and September. So let's go back to 9/1 of 2023. And I'm only going to look at single family homes. And we got 1,084 sales. That's not a bad amount of sales, right? I'm gonna guess, and this is a crazy guess. I'd love you guys to do this too. I'm gonna guess 650 of them are in an HOA, but let's come back and look. Add feel, association, and I'm gonna say none. So I'm gonna guess the none is gonna be about 650 from there is 350, 450, about 430-ish. It is 662. It was the opposite. So there are more properties being sold outside of HOAs than inside HOAs. That is interesting. So of these 662 that are not in an HOA, I'm going to come over to CMA, use all results. We're going to hit next. And what I'm looking for is that sold price per square foot, right? So where is it? Sold price. Sold price per square foot of the last roughly 90 days is $233.72. I'm going to write that down. This is no HOA, and we're looking at $233.72 a square foot. Okay. And you can see the median sold price is $403,571. Very interesting numbers. Okay, well, not so interesting yet. We got to get the other numbers before they become immensely interesting. So now we're going to go back and I'm going to hit mandatory. Now we got this voluntary. I'm just going to choose not to add those. What's a voluntary HOA? It's an HOA where they do, in every case at least that I've seen, they do very little. Maybe they maintain, like when you come into the community, they've got a big sign that says the community's name, and then they've got the landscaping and the beautiful flowers. And maybe somebody maintains all that. And maybe it costs $1,000 a year. And you've got 500 people living in that community, so they charge them $20 a year each. It's voluntary and it's very minimal. I'm not going to count those. So we're looking at strictly HOAs and strictly not HOAs. So let's go to mandatory. What do we got? About 300 of these, 329. Okay, so of these, let's come to CMA, use all results. And again, there are ways you can say, well, Joe, you've got PGA in there. PGA is a higher priced area, and you've got this in there, blah, blah. Yeah, but you've also got a lot of waterfront that's not NHOAs on the beautiful portions of St. Lucie River. Those are not NHOAs, or at least a lot of them aren't, and they're counted in the non-HOA. So it kind of all evens out. But again, this is a B plus. It's not an A plus way of looking at this. I think it's good enough to prove the point, though. Okay, so here you can see sold price per square foot over here for HOAs is $238.33, and the sold price is $499,813. So that is a 95-ish. It's literally $96,000 difference on sold prices. Now, I did not look at the square foot average, but let's just look at 2083 is the median square footage. If I'm going to run on my calculator right now. Let's just assume a 2083 house, 2083 in an HOA with 238 a square foot. You're looking at four. Oh, well, it's literally that. That makes sense. So we're looking at 496, 441. If I use that same square footage of 2083, but I take the per square footage price outside of an HOA, you're looking at 486,838, right? So the homes inside of HOAs are generally going to be bigger on average than the homes outside of the HOAs. So it's not really comparing apples to apples, right? It's more apples to oranges. So if I take the same square footage, which I'm just using 2083 because we got 2083 as a median square footage on the homes inside of an HOA here, what I'm able to see is on a upper fours house, there's about a $10,000 difference favoring the HOA. So not only are you looking at, and I might be able to look at this too. Let's go back. These are okay. So we got 329 sales here in the last 3 months, right? And these are all in HOAs. So that median house is going to be number 165. So I'm going to come to list, and I'm going to put the HOA fees in order. And let's come down to what I say 165. Let's come down to number 165. The median right here. The median HOA fee is $356 in the last 3 months in Port St. Lucie for single family homes, right? $356. So not only does that same square footage home, let's just say 2083 on the square footage, cost you $10,000 more in an HOA, which right now is probably about $90 to $100 a month, give or take, depending upon your rate and how much down and a million other things. But you're looking at, let's just say $90 a month. It's also costing you a median monthly amount of $356 in HOA fees. So that's about $450 a month more for exactly the same house. And we're making a lot of assumptions here. We're using generalities and we're using median numbers and all that, but you're paying about $400-500 a month more for an apples to apples house to be in an HOA. Now, a lot of people will do it because they want things taken care of, right? And you can argue, well, yeah, but I'm in an HOA, right? I don't have to take care of my lawn. If I didn't want to take care of my lawn and I lived outside of an HOA, I'm going to have to pay somebody to come over and do it. And I'm going to have to manage that agreement. I don't have to manage it in my HOA. Well, I do because I'm dumb enough to be the president in our HOA. But if I wasn't, the HOA board would manage it. The management would manage it, right? I wouldn't have to manage that, which is nice. So I wouldn't say it's exactly $400 or $500 more, because if you were to add in all those things, it'd probably be closer to that $90, maybe 150 to 200, but you're paying a hair more to be inside an HOA. Now, I would say too, because I thought that this is about what would show up. Generally speaking, even though a lot of people will talk down about HOAs, they don't want to be held to the rules, but they love that others are held to the rules. And they love that the community looks nicer, feels nicer, has better security, has amenities, has a clubhouse, has a pool, takes care of all your stuff, your landscaping, or, all these different things that you got. Your internet's covered, your cable's covered. There's a lot of things involved there. So I would say this: if you do not want to be in an HOA because you can't stand HOAs, don't be in an HOA. If you're like me and you're like, I don't want to take care of anything and I want to be in a nice community, be in an HOA no matter what. But if you're kind of on the fringe and you're thinking, which is a better financial decision, you're going to have a home worth roughly $10,000 more. And that number is going to go up over time if you're in an HOA and all of the things are equal, right? But you're going to pay for that, right? So I would say financially, if you can afford it and it's a solely financial decision, I'd prefer to be in an HOA. If you do not like the restrictions, I'm telling you right now, do not go in an HOA. But then you've got to be okay with your neighbor. All of a sudden, 3 days after closing, he's got a rusted pickup up out in his yard, and he decides, depending upon city rules, he's going to have chickens out back. You got to be okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, then you got to get in an HOA. But you got to pick your poison, right? So anyway, there is a nice look at some of the different things you're going to want to consider when you're looking at an HOA versus not being in an HOA. Hopefully that's helpful. I really wanted to look at as objective a view at values as possible. But again, when you're looking at specifically, whether it's purchasing an HOA or not, getting a pool or not, buying new versus used, all these different questions you've got, and you're thinking financially, right? Ask your realtor to do this research. You can see, how long has this video been? 11 minutes. I just did 11 minutes of research and I'm talking with you, which is slowing me down, right? I could have done this in probably 7-8 minutes and had you a really solid response. And now you would know, right? So really dig in and have your realtors do this. What is Joshua saying here? Thanks for always providing great info, buddy. I appreciate you, my man. If you guys don't know Joshua Aker, he's another great agent in the Treasure Coast here. Phenomenal guy. I appreciate you joining us, man. Guys, thank you very much. Join me next Wednesday at 12:30, where again, we'll delve into market details. If you've got a specific topic you want me to touch on, feel free to put it in the comments and we'll absolutely do it. Have a great week, guys.